How's it going, everyone? I have a very exciting interview for you all today. I'm sitting here with Mr. Damian Scavo, who happens to be the CEO and founder of Streetbeat, a retail trading-centric platform that I actually think happens to be one of the coolest ones on the market today. Obviously, we're going to be getting into that, but his story is much cooler than you could possibly imagine. So we're going to be getting into all of that as well. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. And you? How is your day?
Having an absolutely fantastic day. So of course, we can get into this amazing new app, Streetbeat. We can get into your serial entrepreneur history, 3 successful exits, which is awesome. You have a lot of cool things going on, humanitarian efforts. It's a laundry list. But really where I want to start at, I was doing a little bit of a deep dive on you, and it says you're a parachutist. So what's going on there? Tell us how you even become a parachutist. What in your mind thought, I should jump out of planes?
It's actually a fun story. I was driving a lot in Italy between Milano and Florence for work, and I was taking some serious amount of tickets, speed tickets. And I was like, oh, damn, I really need to find another way to commute from Milano to Florence. So I was like, let me try to get a pilot license. But before doing that, I also want to learn how to jump out of the airplane in case something goes bad. So the first thing that I did is I took parachuting classes. So I learned how to do that. And it was very scary also because at the third one, I had a bad accident. Basically, I dislocated my shoulder after jump 3 times. And I had to fix it 3 times before being able to open the parachute. So I opened the parachute very low. Only half of a second before the emergency deployed. And so I took it easy. So I jumped only other 10 times and then I stopped. Okay.
Wow. That is an absolutely crazy story. Speaking of your story, it sounds like yours really gets going at a very young age of 6. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, but your past is kind of in coding. You're very familiar with software development, data, and it sounds like you actually started coding at 6. Can you explain how that all came about? Was it a parent that pushed you? Did you have a natural proclivity? How did you know at 6 you're like, I'm gonna code?
Yes, so I was, we were in Buenos Aires. My family was one of those families that escaped Europe during after the Second World War. And they moved to Argentina. And we grew up in Las Villas, one of those places where it's very likely that somebody will shoot somebody or point a gun at you, which happened to basically all my family. And but my mother was particularly she is a very lovely person, and she put a lot of effort into the education. So we were very poor, but the little amount of money that we had, she wanted to put it in education. So I was going to this school where they have these Commodores, and they were teaching me the basic of programming and also English when I was like 5, 6, and I loved it. I loved computer. I loved every time that somebody will bring to me something, I will disassemble it. My father will say, I like to say that I like to build and disassemble hardware since I'm 6, but my father would say, you like to break hardware since you are 6, more than anything else. So I always grew up with that. And also in middle school, I have the opportunity to do some coding. In Italy, it was very rare because there were very few computers that I can access, and in general, people can access. And in high school, I chose one high school that had coding, was an experimental high school. In Italy, we are talking about the 90s. And so I was able to do coding all the time. We were too poor to have a computer at home. Finally, I got my first Amiga 500 when I was 17 at home, and then a PC when I was 21, and internet when I was 22. Okay. So it was very, very very difficult for me. So I often was coding on paper and then running it on the computer at school when I had computer time back then. But that was always my passion, that and trading. So I always liked to do paper trading when I was a kid, looking, at the numbers. I remember this game was called A Train, where it's a train simulator where you run the train station, etc. But inside the train, there was the trading part, and I was disregarding a train, and I was focusing on the trading side, and that was always my passion. And so I grew up doing a lot of this.
Wow. And it sounds like you got started with it pretty early. I believe one of your first coding / trading jobs was with a place called List Group, kind of an electronic exchange over there in Europe. Could you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah, so List Group was and is today an amazing group of people. Originally, List Group was building central stock exchange in partnership with other companies and a peripheral system of this central stock exchange. So the client that, I don't know, a bank will use to trade in the bond market in Europe. And then they started to build what today we call high-frequency trading and algo trading software. It was an exceptional group of people, very smart, that were actually at the forefront of what today in Europe is everything that has to do with bond, high-frequency trading, algo trading, and now much more than that. So my first job there, because I love that company because you combine both tech and finance. My first job there, because I was speaking many languages at that time, was actually as I started as an assistant that was actually in relationship with all the customers. And it became fantastic because in a matter of years, I was very expert on everything that has to do with algo trading in the client house. So I will be inside the server room at a big bank that is a market maker. I will be in the front end helping them to build the algorithmic trading strategy inside something that looked like Excel, but it's not, it's similar. And this company now grow a lot, is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate now of company with multi-billion-dollar revenue, private owned by a very smart Italian and British person. And the great guy. And that's where I learned a lot about high-frequency trading and algo trading. The first day of job, I saw a bank borrowing 400 million euro to another bank, and I was like 21. And it's just like, and they were just using the software that this company was building to do those transactions in milliseconds.
Man, what almost like a fast track for learning about the markets. There you are in your young middle 20s, and it's just like huge numbers, influential people, like real true rainmakers and deal makers. I can't even imagine like all the stories you have from there, but obviously you enjoyed it enough because from there you kind of took it to the next level of trading with your own trading desk. Is that right?
Yes, what happened is that in Europe there was less the culture by that time. Now it's different, to give shares to the employees. So I felt that I was learning a lot, I was growing a lot, and I will be forever thankful for everything that I learned. They were very patient with me because I was just 21. But I couldn't actually express my entrepreneurial ambitions as I was not part of the shareholders, or there was not really a part to rev share or anything like that. So what I did is, okay, let me start my own journey. By the way, I waited a little bit because when my father passed away, I was like 20, right before I started to work. And we didn't have any money. Like we literally had no money to pay the actual coffin of my father. So we had a lot of debt. So for a few years, I was working in paying back all the debts that we had. So my mother could have a good pension, etc., with my amazing brother and my amazing mother. And then when I pay all the debts, we were a lot. I say, okay, now I can start finally my own journey. And the first thing that I did was basically I created my own trading desk, proprietary with other people, and we started to use that software as a private traders and into the market. It was a great journey. We were profitable from day one. We were doing high frequency trading and scalping. Originally in covered warrants, then we expanded it to other asset classes. It was a great journey. I did that till 2010, and then I decided to take a sabbatical year in which I did a lot of other things. Traveled the world mostly. I loved microfinance. I met Yunus, the Nobel Prize for Peace. amazing individual. He inspired me to do some project in West Africa. I did a lot of mindfulness and meditation training. I met with many gurus and spiritual teachers and coaches around the world, and I learned a lot about emotional intelligence and life, and was an amazing year. And I'm still doing a lot of training. And then I did traveled so much that I counted like 30 spin around the world by the age of 31. And then I decided that was time to move to my next venture, and I saw that the Bay Area will be great for me. So I moved here, which I didn't know anybody, and I started my own company. I put all my money in it. So I moved here that I had almost nothing again, because I was putting all this money on this data company called Axweb, which ultimately did well with several amazing individuals that I came across during my path, my founders and co-founders and team member. We had very great, very good people in the team. It was an amazing journey with a lot of crazy stories. Also that one, that was a data company that was selling data to media and hedge funds also, again, at one point. And we can talk about it if you want.
Man, I'm just sitting here fascinated because you have such a unique background of like, obviously there is a coding data aspect to it. There's a love for trading. There you were an algo trader, data-driven trader, high-frequency trader. I don't want to like brag too much for you, but what I read on the internet is you guys did really, really well. And then before that, obviously your own personal story of, everyone loves that story of like kind of the grit of like people who like really had to fight for it. And I don't know, what I see you doing now with Streetbeat of like, yeah, it's still data, yeah, it's trading, but also you still have that helping aspect, which I mean, at one point you were taking a break to do some of this, like giving back to the world. And obviously on a personal note, you care a lot about mindfulness. And like, is that like, are you almost trying to like balance it all out? Like, is that how you view it? Just like, to me, this is the type of mindset that is a huge rarity in Wall Street. Maybe it's because of movies, maybe it's because of sitcoms, but when people are entrepreneurs, especially in Wall Street, it's money, money, money. That's what I care about. How do I get more? But then here you are, a clear success, and it doesn't seem to be that at all.
Yeah, I found this model. I would like to share it with you. It's called the Wheel of Life, in which you divide the life in 8 areas where you have family, friends, health, spirituality, or aspiration if you are atheist. And you have finance, work, and 8 areas. I would like to show it to you. I will send it so you have the pie with the 8 areas. And my idea is, yeah, it's okay if you are making a lot of money, but you know you ruin your family, your health, you don't have any friends, etc. I don't think that that's real success. I think that's a real screw up of an opportunity of a nice life. And I think that at the foundation of a nice life, there is a balance on the 8 areas of your lives, like the one of many areas of your life, like this schema that I learned from a coach called Paoletti in Italy. This schema that's represent much better the life, and having a balanced life make everything better, make everything work better. So in this balanced life, there is also one of the 8 areas are community, and community can be your neighbor, can be the plants in front of your house, it can be your country, whatever you decide is community for you. But if you include all these areas at the same time, it's a completely different conversation in which you have the 8 areas, and then you see where you are on each of them, okay? And you try to keep it balanced. So yeah, so that's one part. So I try to keep many areas balanced, but also on the other side, I remember I was in Benin near Togo and Burkina Faso. And I remember I just came back from this area where the mortality rate was 20% back then. Wow. And and people were literally dying on the street at that time, and was very intense. And And we were trying to do what we could over there. You feel that this is much bigger than you. You just you are putting a little thing over there. Sometimes little thing can trigger a lot of reaction, but right now, for example, Benin is much better, but at that time was very bad. And I remember on my flight back from Benin that got through Paris, I remember having these two women complain that their fur coat was losing air, that they didn't make the fur coat that they used to make in the past. And I was like, wow, these people should take them. I was, how can you complain about this? I mean, for me, it was mind-blowing. So being in contact with, and since I'm 18, I also did a lot of volunteering in the hospital. So you go there and you help whatever you need, changing, helping somebody, even change diapers, doesn't matter. And that's keep you grounded, in my opinion, and keep you trying to see life for what it is more than, what it is not. And that's also why I went through a lot of my life without money, without too many problems, because the happiness for me came from quality of the relationship and other things. And of course, money is useful and is great. And I want to help as much people as to make as much money as they can. But yeah, it's not just money. No.
Man, I feel like this is a great philosophy talk of just it's a sobering, like you said, it helps you keep grounded a little bit more based of the other things going on, because it shows from time and time again, we could get a little bit too obsessed with one thing and we miss the forest from the trees type of a situation. Man, I love that. So with all this crazy experience, entrepreneurial, whether you're donating your own time, your own familial backstory, it all leads to your current endeavor, which is Streetbeat. So can you give the audience who maybe hasn't heard of it yet a rundown of what it is, the elevator pitch, and then we'll dive a little bit more into why you're even doing it?
Yeah, sure. So in Artsway, we were selling also data to many data companies, including some management. And we were also massaging data from many hedge funds. We had tons of experience in that. And we saw the hedge fund having all these tools to invest. They have satellites data, drones data, they have insights from apps usage, etc. And then on the other side, and they have all algorithmic trading, high frequency trading, auto trading, etc. And on the other side, retail investors usually have mostly manual trading. If you are a developer, you can, or almost a developer, maybe you can code some algo trading, maybe, but it's a sub percentage of the population. The majority of the people have access just to manual trading. And manual trading historically lose money. Historically, manual trading by itself just lose money. And then COVID hit, and there was a lot of people doing manual trading. So my dream was, oh gosh, all these people, as soon as the market turns, will lose a ton of money. I wish I could bring to market a tool that will protect them in the bear markets and will actually give them more tools compared to what it is today. So Streetbeat was born because I had 60, 70 people were asking me, hey, based on your data, what is good today? What is bad? When I was in Italy, and I couldn't use that data to give any insight to retail. And I was not a registered investor advisor, so I couldn't give them the signals that I was seeing. And so Streetbeat was to answer all this, so to close the gap. Of course, Renaissance has $1 billion in just in data. No? It will take time, but there are a lot of low-hanging fruits that we can do also with our little amount of money, little amount of users. We have 30,000 paying customers right now. There is stuff that we can already do, and we are doing it. And that's why Streetbeat did so, and our customer did so well last year, and we'll do that more in the future. Plus, generative AI is actually, from this point of view, is actually a great democratizer. Because, for example, the news analysis that the hedge fund used to do with the proprietary technique, ChatGPT can do it much better, faster. Faster maybe not, but much better at a fraction of the cost. And so that's another feature that we're going to add to Streetbeat. So all the news will be analyzed. And if it impact directly or indirectly assets on your portfolio, he will tell you. He will suggest what to do, or you can let him do it automatically. So if a good news hit Microsoft, I don't know, OpenAI is now released inside Google Doc and is awesome. And that will impact, I don't know, Google negative. He will suggest automatically, hey, you should overweight this and underweight it. All automatically, which is something that the hedge fund have been doing for 20 years. Just that nobody actually bring that to the retail. So I just want to be one of those little ants that close that gap, you know? And eventually, probably also, I would love to generate a path that many others can copy and follow. Because I think there is some good stuff that you can do in this regard, and we are still not doing. Manual trader lost a ton of money last year. If you look at Robinhood earning calls by itself last year, I think they are compounded, they are down 62%. But I think page 27 of the earning call of 2022, and you can see how many billions they lost. And so we need to fix that. Okay, Robinhood need to fix that. And the 300 brokers out there need to fix that by giving more tools, better tools to the people. Not only beautiful UIs, because, oh my God, the UI of people like Robinhood is fantastic. But let's give them more tools, not just a nice UI that people can use, you know.
So to clarify, obviously, if I download it, you could get it on your phone. I'm going to see this beautiful UI similar to Robinhood or Webull. And even though I have my qualms with those companies, we'll give them respect where it's due. It is the UI, UX. It's great. So it sounds like on Streetbeat, correct me if I'm wrong, please, I could buy and sell stock the way I normally would. But on top of it, it sounds like there's some other services where there's a lot of data involved. It sounds like you guys have fancy data. It sounds like AI and ChatGPT have fancy data. And what, you're using that all together? And then what, is it giving recommendations to the user? Or if I were on it right now and we were sitting together playing on the phone, how would that other part? Because it sounds like that's the thing that really sets Streetbeat apart from everyone else. So could you give us like that side of it, of like really what does the user get?
Yes, I would like to use a video.
Hello, and welcome to Streetbeat. We will demonstrate how Streetbeat allows you to invest like a pro and also customize your strategies using artificial intelligence. Let's explore how it works. The app is designed to help you create, analyze, and invest in personalized trading strategies. You can choose a professionally curated investment strategy managed by Streetbeat or create your own strategy. This is an example of the home screen. Let's start by creating a custom strategy. Hey Streetbeat, I want to invest in tech and sustainability. Thanks to the AI integration, you can leverage artificial intelligence to create your own personalized strategy. Streetbeat analyzes your request and creates a tailored strategy based on the current macroeconomic environment, your inputs, and your risk profile with available stocks and ETFs. Once the strategy is created, you are presented with an analysis of backdated results. You will have access to important metrics, such as the Sharpe ratio and the historic P&L, to evaluate past performance before investing in your new strategy. You can access vital information to help you make well-informed decisions. Personal strategies used to take hours or days to create. Streetbeat is making it faster and more accessible to everyone. The app automatically rebalances the positions of the suggested stocks and ETFs based on the latest news, available data, and other factors. Streetbeat updates your strategy and keeps you informed every step of the way on all the decisions the AI makes. And if you prefer, you can also buy and sell stocks directly from the app. Now it's that simple to invest like a pro, manually or as part of a larger strategy. It's sophisticated investing made simple. This is just a quick highlight of the data-driven investment capabilities of Streetbeat. Give it a try and see for yourself.
So I am one of the many members of Wall Street Bet from a lot of time ago, or investing. I love when are investing or losing money with friends, because I love the tagline was hilarious. And but we were already 2 million people back then. And yeah, the goal of Streetbeat is help these people have more for what they pay for. You know, we also don't participate to payment for order flow because we think that that's a misalignment. We don't want the people to trade a lot. We want the people to trade smart. Okay, so my goal is to give you as much smart tool as I can for as little as money as I can, and build. One day, potentially, we'll have hundreds of millions in revenue, and we can give millions of value in tools. Okay, so that's the goal of Streetbeat. And I like the allegory of the chess player. So because, you know, I'm also in anarchy chess or chess, another couple of subreddits. So, I mean, Magnus Carlsen, it's a top player in the world, probably ever. And he cannot really beat a computer at chess since basically 2006, 2007. The halo of computers back then already skyrocketed. They are like 50% higher of the halo of Magnus Carlsen. I'm not Magnus Carlsen. I do know what en passant is, but I'm definitely not Magnus Carlsen. And my yellow is probably 1,000 or even less. And the thing is, if I want to trade in the stock market, why don't use computer versus manual trade? Like, of course, the computer, it will be better. Me and the computer will be better than me alone. So the thing is, let's give the technology that we know scientifically that it works. Like, there are a lot of papers that show, for example, that calibrating based on news, you can actually understand next day movement. But the thing is, to do it at scale and data-driven and technology require a lot of infrastructure. Okay, let's have one company, Streetbeat, do it once for everybody. Okay, and every time that there is a scientific approach that works, let's just suggest it to Streetbeat. Let's double check the paper scientifically, and if it works, then we implement it for every user. That's the approach that we want to have in Streetbeat.
I love that pitch. It's basically, as technology advances, why not many things advance with it? So instead of doing that manual, let's almost call it retail gut-paced trading, well, now you're just doing it with AI. AI is assisting you. I have to admit, I guess I didn't really have the maturity to use your platform properly, because the first thing I did when I was talking into it to create me a strategy, I said, create me the best strategy in the entire world. And I'm not kidding at all. I'll put the picture on the screen. It's up like 3% right now. I put money into it and it's actually been doing really, really well. I was like, oh, maybe it is the best strategy in the entire world. But I like that concept. But I guess another place I would love to go from here is, some people would argue that AI is a fad and it's just a flash in the pan. It's a buzzword that every company is trying to throw on their earnings announcement, their earnings report, just to get a little bit of a bump, and it's not here to stay. I mean, I'm assuming you highly disagree with that.
So, well, I've been working in the space for a long time, and I saw many waves of AI, with a peak on 2012 that seems that we were getting there, but no. And but the LLM is a type of model that is actually significantly and impactful. Like, I think that we will do things much different in the future. As in Streetbeat, you can now talk, you understand what you are talking about, and reply based on what you need and what you ask. That functionality was sci-fi 1 year ago. Like, it was so difficult even to invent or code. Instead, it took us few weeks of development to have the first beta in production. And so the world is changed, and the problem, in my opinion, is how to prevent this to be abused. And that's another completely chapter.
So what would you say to the people right now who are listening and they're like, you know what, this sounds like the classic saying of, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Like, there's probably people listening to this right now and they're like, hey man, I've been through the whole retail ape war with Robinhood, and then we got screwed by them. I don't really like Webull because I heard about this payment for order flow thing. And now you're sitting here talking about Streetbeat. You have a very impressive story, but you're saying, hang on, we're approaching it a little bit differently. But what about the people who are on the fence and they're just like, I don't know, I like what you're saying, and we all want it to be true. We all want that almost like financial salvation, almost the financial savior, like, because of course we all want a little bit more money. So what would you say to the people who are kind of like a little bit worried about it? Because, like, yeah, we can all show beautiful graphs going from the bottom left to the top right, but I mean, I guess you have those stats and figures of like retail performing better on your platform versus others, or anything related to that?
Yeah. So first of all, we are an investor advisor, right? It's not that we can guarantee any particular future results. We can use a scientific approach and give the tools to the people. and that people can play and use them by themselves. People, I think, can get much less hurt doing manual trading on one single stock than actually having a conglomerate of strategy, each of them following their desire or intuition or goals, each of them trading a conglomerate of stock ETFs. So in a few minutes, you have a very diversified portfolio and very diversified strategy. So that by itself will help people to navigate the market better. Then you put this approach on top of it, and it will do even better than just no approach, okay? Just a portfolio, passive manager, etc. So that's are the two things that we can say. At the same time, you saw in the past what happened with manual traders, and you can just look at the chart of the average Robinhood user, unfortunately, and that's the type of people that we want to help to do better. And this approach is an approach that has been used for 20 years by professionals, even more, which just that were not easy available to people. So the challenge for me is, how can I make it easy available, and how can I make it with a amount of money that everybody can have access to? So that's my challenge. Not easy challenge. And we may succeed, we may fail, we don't know. But definitely so far the numbers are positive, both for us as a company and for the user. Last year, our user using our strategies, on average, they did plus 5% on stock, plus 4.something% on stock, and plus 7% on crypto last year. And we could only go long. One day I will be able to offer also short trading strategies. We still need to do a lot of work with compliance to be able to offer long, short trading strategy. We like them to be not only market neutral, but also sector neutral. So we will get there. We need a little bit more of time.
Yep, that's definitely understandable. I'm sure this type of tech and the regulation, there's a lot to overcome there. Before this, I was messing around on the app, and like you said, the UI, UX, beautiful. I really think the AI integration is pretty cool. Obviously, no one else is doing it. Actually, I was looking a little bit, and it sounds like you're the ones with the patent on it, so you might be the only ones who do it. I don't know if we're allowed to here. Like, I don't know if you're letting the cat out of the bag, but could you give us any indication of the things that you want to add in the future? Like, do you have other cool things coming, or is that all hush hush right now?
Well, we have a lot of things coming. One of the things that we have coming is, for example, every week it will check the overall portfolio that you have, both manual trading and all our strategies. And it will recommend, based on portfolio theory, how to rebalance your position. So, for example, I don't know, in the last test that I did, he's told me that I am overweighted in technology because 75% of my portfolio was in tech company. So he suggested to reduce, the system suggests me to reduce the portfolio from 75 to about 45 in tech, and then the 30% that he cut out of my portfolio, he suggested me to diversify in commodities and other asset classes, bonds, and other asset classes that were coherent with my risk profile. Okay. And then I accepted, I pressed the button, and he did the recalibration the next day, all automatic. Okay. And that's one functionality that we are working. Another functionality is the news analysis in cluster, like I suggest to you, not only when a news impact Google, but also his sector or reverse impact another company. And then there are more things that they are a bit too early to talk about, but I hope maybe a couple of months to be able to share more. And they all include the possibility for the user to interact with Streetbeat like he's talking to an investor advisor.
Well, in a couple months when all this stuff comes out, I hope to have you back on, because for me personally, with my background in tech, I really like just seeing people do different things that the market does not have yet. And obviously integrating it with AI, it's a novel idea. And I think right here, it's nice to hope that can actually help retail get more money. Thus far, your data is looking pretty promising, and let's hope that the numbers get higher and higher. But overall, for me and the audience, I truly appreciate your time today. I will make sure for anyone curious about what's going on, I'll put all the social medias and the links in the description of this video below so you can check it out and you can reach out to the company and see the socials and whatnot. But thanks for your time today, and for you, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you. And if anybody want to reach out, we are pretty responsive both on Discord on the Instagram right now, or inside the app, we have a possibility to chat with our team, and they can directly schedule a meeting with me. If anybody have questions, I will be happy to talk with anybody that have ideas or want to have something in Streetbeat that is not there yet.
Oh, wow. And that's really cool.
Thank you very much to everybody.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.